Spurs are well over 6 months into their new project under Ange Postecoglou, and it's safe to say that things are going pretty well. We're in the hunt for a top 4 spot, and we're not even that far off the top contenders in Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City, who are competing for the title this year. And when you compare it to other teams who have also changed management over the summer, you can see that there's been clear progress since the last manager of Antonio Conte. There's been a clear change in direction for the football club, in the recruitment, in the way we play, and everything is just looking up in North London at the moment. Now, as we're over halfway through the season, I thought I would ask some friends of mine who they think their player of the season so far is, and whether they think Spurs can get into the Champions League after being away from it this season. First up, we have George Achillia, who's telling us who he thinks is his player of the season so far, and whether we can break into that top 4 by the end of the season.
Player of the season for myself, I think, is a really tough one for Spurs because the injuries have hampered a few possible nominations. So I want to give some honourable mentions to Mickey van der Ven, who I think every time he's played has looked like one of the best centre-backs in the world, let alone the league. Maddison as well had an amazing first 10, 11 weeks before he got his injury. So I think by the end of the season, he would be a top contender. And of course, shout out to Sonny, who has been an absolute goal-scoring machine while he's been at Spurs. But I do think that throughout the whole season and been the most consistent is between 2 players. I think Vicario I'd put as second, and number 1 I'm going to have to go for Pedro Porro. I just think that he hasn't really had a bad game all season. He's making record number of assists for a Spurs player in one season already, and we're only halfway through, and I think he's just been absolutely consistent all season and a massive improvement compared to last year. So I'm going to go Pedro Porro in regards to where I think we'll finish at the end of the season. It's a tough call. I definitely think we'll make top 4 for sure. It's a little bit touch and go. I don't think we'll be able to challenge for the league, so I'm going to go for a 3rd place finish for Spurs.
Well, a lot of honourable mentions there from George, shouting out the likes of Mickey van der Ven, shouting out Sonny and James Maddison, but overall he has given it to Pedro Porro, who I think is a brilliant shout. I think he's been one of our most consistent performers this season, and he's come up clutch with a few goals. I'm thinking of that Burnley one in the FA Cup and some great assists as well. So absolutely no qualms with that pick at all from George. Yeah, he's gone with a respectable 3rd place finish, which means he is expecting us to finish above one of Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal. Will that happen? Who knows? I'd hope so. But it's not guaranteed, and we will have to be very good between now and the rest of the season if we are to climb into that top 3. Next up, we have Sonny from Sonny Talks Spurs. So let's find out who he's picking and where he thinks we're going to finish come May.
Hey Mitch, it's Sonny from Sonny Talks Spurs, and you want to know my player of the season so far and where Tottenham are going to finish in the league. Player of the season, there are many candidates for this one because Spurs have been quite good. A lot of players to choose from. Richarlison comes to mind, Destiny Udogie, Mickey van der Ven, to name but a few. But I'm going to go for Vicario. I think for £17 million, he's been one of the standout players this year. Our new number 1, a lot of pressure on his back and on his gloves, you could say. So, yeah, I think he's been amazing. So good with his feet, good with his hands. And people give him stick for the mistakes last couple of games. Get off of him. He has been a wonder. And where are we going to finish this season? You also ask. I'm going to go 4th. I'm backing the boys to finish 4th. I think Villa are going to prioritise winning that Conference League because Emery loves a European trophy. I don't think United are strong enough still. Same with Brighton and Newcastle. Yep, Tottenham are getting top 4 this season.
So Sonny has gone with Vicario in goal as Tottenham's player of the season so far. And again, it's a difficult one to argue with. I know people have had issues with him over the last couple of games, but there is no denying that Vicario has been one of our best players this season. He's made some fantastic saves, and you've got to remember that a football team and their calmness and confidence, it all stems from the goalkeeper at the back and how calm he is on the ball, and Vicario is certainly that. So I have absolutely no problems at all with Vicario being Sonny's pick. And again, he's expecting us to get back into the Champions League by the end of the season, and I have to agree with him. I think 4th place is probably the most likely spot that we're going to end up in, competing with Aston Villa. Perhaps the 3 above us are maybe a little bit out of reach. But yeah, some solid picks from Sonny there. Next up, we have the incredible host of Holly Hotspurs herself, Holly Agombar. Is she going to make it 3 different players so far for Tottenham's player of the season? Or is she going to go with one of the others that either Sonny or George have gone with already? Let's find out.
Hello, yes, it's me, Holly, from Holly Talks Spurs, here to give my player of the season so far. It's going to be pretty cliche. Lots of people are probably going to say Maddison, but I think I'm going to go Mickey van der Ven. Although he had that injury very early on, when he's in that defence, Mr. Daddy Longlegs is something else. He is so good at pace. You think he's not going to catch a player, boom, he has, and he's made a challenge, and he's probably saved the goal from happening. So for me, Mickey van der Ven. In terms of where I think we're going to finish this season, if you asked me this at the start of the season after we lost Harry Kane, having a brand new manager in, I probably would have said, and I think I said 6th or 8th. Now that we started so well, the fact that we're playing Ange ball and we're getting up results, apart from obviously the Everton draw that was really frustrating, I genuinely think we could really push on to top 4, potentially even 3rd, if luck is maybe a little bit on our side. But I'm definitely singing the Champions League theme tune come this time next season. So come on, you Spurs.
So Holly does indeed make it 3 out of 3 so far for different picks from each of our different YouTubers for Tottenham's player of the season so far. She's gone with Mickey van der Ven, which is a brilliant pick once again. He's probably actually my pick so far. I know he's missed a lot of time through injury, but I just think we look so much better at the back with Mickey van der Ven in the team, and his recovery runs are a huge part of how Ange Postecoglou wants to play. So good shout from Holly there. And again, calling Champions League at the end of the season, I think everybody's pretty much aligned on that, and we can only hope and pray that that is where we end up. To round things off, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, ex-duo Max. Is he going to make it 4 out of 4 for different picks from our YouTubers? Let's see.
How's it going, Mitch? Hope you're well and loving Tottenham's start under Ange Postecoglou, just as many other Spurs fans are. We've got that smile back, we've got our mojos back, especially under the lights watching the Lily Whites in action. We've got some honourable mentions as well this season so far. Van der Ven, Romero, Maddison, Sonny, always in the limelight. But we've got 2 people this season, 2 players that are standing out for me, and that's Richarlison and Destiny Udogie. Destiny Udogie, you got to remember, he's come from a different league and he's still young, and you wouldn't even know. He's absolutely rapid, he's strong. He probably has a little bit to learn defensively, but definitely going forward, Ange Postecoglou has got the right man at left back there. And obviously Richarlison, he's bagging goals for fun, he's scoring every game at the moment. Let's just pray long may it continues. So they're my 2 honourable mentions. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Richarlison, just because the way he's not gave up, and he's obviously... He was getting a lot of stick from the fans, and now we're all behind him, so we love to see it. And under Ange Postecoglou this season, I believe we can finish top 4. I want Champions League back at the lane. Anything else would be a massive bonus, so that's what I'm going for. Hope you're well, Mitch. Thanks for asking me to this video. Go you Spurs, and let's go.
So Max rounds things off really nicely by giving 2 huge shout-outs to both Destiny Udogie and Richarlison, which means we do have a full house of different picks from the guys that have kindly contributed to this video, which goes to show just how well and how diverse Spurs players have been this season in terms of performing under Ange Postecoglou. There's been a real improvement across every area of the pitch, and long may it continue. I really, really hope that they push on in the second half of the season and do everything they can to make sure that Champions League football comes back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next season. But that's it from me for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to George, Sonny, Max and Holly for their contributions to this. I really appreciate it. It's so glad to see so many people talking positively about Spurs at the moment. And yeah, like I mentioned before, long may it continue. Let's hope that we're celebrating loads of wins in the second half of the season and see just how high we can climb up in that table. And then we can all be excited for what's to come in the 2024-25 campaign under Ange, with the signings that he's going to make and the players that we've already got. Yeah, don't forget to leave a like on the video, comment who's been your player of the season so far, and where do you think we're going to finish. And yeah, catch you guys in the next one, and come on, you Spurs.